you kind of want to start off being like a flight attendant where it's like, your life vests are located under your seat.
Here, and here.
Exits are there. Pull this tab here to engage the flotation device.
There's only so many marinas and so many slips available and places to store your boat.
And not just that, but since most of the marinas, or maybe not most, but many marinas are now operating at 100% capacity. Welcome to another episode of the Southern Boating Podcast. I'm Ian Sneed.
I'm James Anderson.
And today we're going to be talking about two really important subjects. The first one is actually something that most boaters have come across the past couple of years, and that's dwindling dock space. The second one is something that every boater should be aware of, and that is their safety equipment. But not just their safety equipment. When you have guests aboard, educating them on your safety equipment, because not all of them will be boaters as educated as you. And even if they are, maybe it's the first time on your boat. So it's better to teach them what they need to know so that everyone has a good, safe time. Now, having said that, we're going to jump into our ask for the episode, which is subscribe to the channel while you're here before you forget. And also click on that like button right now. And if you don't like the episode, you could take that like back. All right. Let's make that a little deal that we do every episode and jump into the content. James, what do you say?
So, wow, that was long-winded.
Yeah, it was, right? And that was the first take, baby. What's up?
Wow, that was a lot to say before we even went over anything worth saying, really.
I'm just, yay.
So the first one we want to address is talking about an issue that has come about in the last couple of years. So let's talk about what caused the issues. The article's called Dwindling Dock Space, right? And it's all about dock space. But what has created this issue is the expansion of recreational boating throughout the COVID years, right? COVID came along. A lot of us thought we were going to be banished to indoors. We weren't going to be allowed to do anything. But outdoor recreation was one of the ways for people to escape their house, but escape what's also currently going on in the world, right? Their way of having a little fun, breathing some fresh air and so forth. So what came with that is putting an exponential on boat sales. Boat sales skyrocketed. Anything outdoors skyrocketed. So it wasn't just boating. It was RV sales, just about everything. But for us, the boat sales is what mattered. So we have a plethora of new boats out there, a plethora of new boat owners, first-time boaters, everything under the sun. Now, what does that cause going down the road? Well, there's only so many marinas and so many slips available and places to store your boat. So with all of these new boaters, now you have that many more people looking to find places to store their boat, dock their boat, and so on.
It essentially turned dock space into a commodity.
Exactly right.
Almost overnight, it turned all dock space
commodity
into
is a great way to put it, because we watched the price on slips go through the roof. We also watched, what this article touched on, is some changes in tax laws, right? Which brought in a lot of investors into the marina space. Right? Because they changed how slips are now considered real estate. So the income on them is taxed differently.
Yes.
Right?
And not just that, but since most of the marinas, or maybe not most, but many marinas are now operating at 100% capacity since those years, and with the tax changes on top of that, what you're looking at is a great return on your investment if you're a venture capitalist or if
for
you're
the marina owner
or developer.
Right.
Or yes, exactly.
Exactly right. So it's changed a lot of things. So we wrote this article to kind of go over what all of the options are, right? So number one option is, if you trailer your boat, can you store it at home? Right. Do you live in an area that'll allow you to put it on the side of your house, in the driveway, or least preferable on the street, right? Most places will not allow it on the street. Not even in my neighborhood can you park it on the street. In the driveway, yeah, sure. On the side of the house, yeah, sure. But then you can only have a certain size boat, right? You're
limited to the size of your property, essentially.
Correct. Or what's trailerable, right?
Correct.
With the equipment that you have. So depending on what size truck you have and so forth.
So if you have a larger vessel, then you're looking at, all right, what's the next option, right?
Exactly right.
And I know that there's mobile apps where you can kind of look for anyone that's renting their dock. So if they have, dock dockage at their home, but they don't have a boat, so they'll rent out that space. So there's plenty of apps, right? That's another option.
So the apps that you're referring to are going to be Snag-A-Slip, Docwa, and there's a couple of other ones. But those are the two that I'm extremely familiar with.
We have a list of them in the article. I know that, especially
in the article
right
on the last page.
Yeah, it's to remind everybody you do have these options, because here's the thing with this change in dockage. One of the benefits is, now there's going to be less mom and pop shops, but one of the benefits of these developers coming in and taking over these marinas is that you're going to get expanded services, you're going to get expanded luxuries, and you're going to get the quite literally development mindset applied to a marina, which means they're adding dry stacks, right? They're adding one of
the options that
for storage.
Exactly. So there's the keeping it in the water, or if you have a slip with a lift, we've seen some of those around as well. But then there's the dry stacks, right? It's kind of like a nice shelving system for your boat,
exactly.
Right?
And I know there's a lot of boaters familiar with dry stacks, but
we have a lot of them around here.
Yeah. But one of the things that I found fascinating was how, automation is becoming a big term across industries. And automation with dry stacks is actually one of the most interesting technologies.
Yes. And I'll give you a story. So when I was a little kid, we used to go to a place called Shirt Tail Charlie's, and it's a dry stack marina, but it was a restaurant with a pool. Well, Mom would take us there because of the pool, and we could be at the restaurant. She enjoys herself. We enjoy the pool.
Everyone wins.
Everybody wins. So, but what was really cool about it was, as a little kid, I used to watch the forklifts bring the boats off of the dry stack and place them in the water, right? And that was very fascinating to me as a kid, because the forklifts are large marina-styled forklifts capable of putting boats in and out of the water and onto the dry stack. So now we fast forward to today, and we have two different dry stacks in town, one being the Port, the other being F3, that are automated cranes. This will actually be a crane that's not manned like a forklift or manned like a typical crane. It's automated. It retrieves your boat for you, places it in the water, and then does the reverse when you come back. So pretty interesting. Yeah. Pretty cool to watch. And we have two of them in town, but it also is pretty neat because it reduces the man hours, waiting time, lots of different things that you have to do with, the old traditional style of you need a forklift operator and you need a dock hand, so on and so forth.
One thing that I want to note is a lot of people assume, since we're Southern Boating, that we're only talking about Florida, but you know better than anyone. We're quite literally, we cover across the country. And one thing that we notice here in this article is the fact that we talk about the Great Lakes and marinas and storage, in areas where there is lake boating. And it's important to note that if you're on a Great Lake and you're coming across the same issue of, dock space is dwindling, these solutions are quite literally at your doorstep as well. We want you to know that those resources are there for you too.
I do know that dock space is running out on the lakes. From the Lake of the Ozarks to the Great Lakes, they're having the same exact issue that we have.
Yeah.
It is not an exclusive issue to the coast or to Florida. This is, in general, a nationwide issue. But we also see, and in this article we mentioned, there's several marinas that are being updated. So they're redoing their docks. They're finding ways to get more dock space to be able to sell them again, because it's more profitable for them now than it ever was.
Absolutely.
Which, again, with the dawn of, like you said, there's some highlights to this. And though they're not mom and pops, they're larger corporations, but with that, they're making it kind of more of a resorty feel with their amenities.
Yes, amenities, restaurants, services for the vessel. There's a lot of benefits to it. Yeah.
So with this, what I take away from it is, once you have to make a list of what your priorities are, what you want, what's important to you, how much access do you want to your boat, and then kind of go down through your options and kind of see which one is going to be the best one for me. What is the best fit? Do I want dry stack storage? Do I want to be in a place that's got a lot of amenities? So there's just way too many choices. So you have to sit down, make yourself a list of what's important to you, who can actually do that for you, and then actually go visit and make a determination yourself.
It's funny that you took that perspective, because for me, I was just marveling at human ingenuity and how we're, especially the boating community, is just full of problem solvers. So like no matter what your problem is, like there is going to be a solution there. And I know we love to provide the resources in Southern boating, but I also know that you can have conversations with other people at marinas, at resorts, wherever you are, and you can find those solutions. That's one thing that I took away from it. And I really love how, especially in this issue, in our October issue, we have a lot of elements that will benefit boaters across the country, internationally, because we have subscribers internationally. So we have a lot of resources in this issue, and I just wanted to point that out because when we're talking about dockage and dock space and slips, that's everywhere, right? That's not just
it's not exclusive to
everyone.
Any select area. This is a problem that we have all across the nation,
right?
So it's one that you have to pay attention to, but it is refreshing to see that people are accommodating this issue, right? And that's all good for us as boaters.
Yeah.
Right? The innovative and technology that goes into coming up with solutions. So it's
now another universal topic, safety. And we talk about safety a lot at Southern Boating because we enjoy the boating community so much. We want us all to be around because we're being safe boaters. We want to have fun. We want to be safe. Now, in this article, it's about knowing your emergency equipment, right? Written by Captain Chris Caldwell, who is one of our favorites, one of my personal favorites. I really enjoy him as a person, as a writer, as a knowledge resource. I think he's incredible. And we even have one of his videos as a QR code in this article.
Correct.
So you can always go see exactly what I'm talking about him being a knowledge source. One of the things I wanted to talk about was there were three important points to kick off this article. And one is you want to have what you need, right? That's the most important. Second is you want to know how to use it.
Very important.
And then third is you want to consider easy access stowing, right? And not just that, but when you're educating people that you're entertaining, you want that easy access stowing to be easy for them as well, because there's some spaces in your vessel that you're going to know like intuitively, but it might not be intuitive to a non-boater who might be going on your vessel for the first time. So we want to find something that is easy to access for everybody aboard, no matter their experience level.
Right. So let's talk about that in a little bit further in depth. So number one, knowing the equipment. A new boater is not going to know every piece of equipment, or somebody that's not even a boater that you're entertaining for the day. It's definitely not going to know the equipment. So before they get on board, kind of running them down through PFD, personal flotation device, otherwise known life vest. Teaching them that, number one, and where they're stowed. And maybe even having a label to where they're stowed many times. Because I might say it to you, you might somewhat remember, but if you see that label, it's going to trigger that memory immediately.
It's funny because I wrote down a note. I said, you kind of want to start off being like a flight attendant where it's like, your life vests are located under your seat.
Here, and here.
Exits are there. Pull this tab here to engage the flotation device. Like, so I know that that's a little exaggerated, but at the same time, it actually would be beneficial to do that.
Hey, listen, there's a reason they do it on the planes.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they want you to know. And it's really, you should almost be taking the same technique before you get underway, is to teach everybody on board. This is where the PFDs are in case you need them. And if you don't know how to use one, come to me immediately. Right.
And a lot of people, when it comes to this, for example, they think, okay, but if somebody falls, if there's a man overboard situation, I'll be able to help them. But, let's hope that you're not the one falling overboard and you didn't teach them. And now they don't know how to help you. Right.
That would be a real big problem.
So it's not just, hey, we're going to help them. We're going to make sure that
they can help
we're
us.
Safe as well. So I just wanted to make that point.
So, and that brings up the next thing, right? Is teaching them what a throwable is and how to use it.
That's
right. Because a lot of people may not know that, though you might not see the standard life ring with the rope, that we have seat cushions that can be throwables, level 4 seat cushions, and they're flotation devices too. And a lot of us actually utilize those because they're more aesthetically pleasing.
And practicing maybe not just, throwing whatever you need overboard, but practicing a man overboard scenario before you even leave the dock. I think that's important.
It's a good idea. Or, you don't have to do it every time before you leave the dock, but your most common guests, make a little fun game out of it one day, right?
Yeah.
Practice a little bit of overboard scenario.
Right.
Like, before you hit the sandbar or something one day.
Right.
So you can teach everybody. And if they're guests that are with you all the time, wouldn't you be reassured that you've taught them at that point?
Exactly.
I mean, to me, that's, I think, not a bad idea, especially the younger guests.
Now, another point that I have here is not just like marking the locations or pointing out where these personal flotation devices are, which cushions to use, but also life rafts. Like if you have a life raft that obviously has, I think it's more of a hard composite bottom, then that's going to be
the clamshell
out.
style.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be out already. But if it's one that's a little more inflatable, most people will stow that in the cabin. But when you're running, you probably want to have that out. You want to have that aboard.
I would say if you're running in certain conditions, you definitely want to have that
you want to
out.
have it out. You just want to. That one is one of those better safe than sorry situations, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the other one is also locator devices, and there's really the two different styles:
The alert and locate.
And locate, right? So let's talk about alert. Alert is like a flare, right? That throws a signal that, hey, I'm in distress and needs help.
Right.
Flare guns, very important. We've talked about it before. When you're looking at them, check them, make sure that they're not expired. I hope that you would have experienced shooting a flare once or twice before, just to make sure that you know what you're doing and how they work. It's good to practice that as well. But in a scenario where you're not going to scare somebody because they see a flare go up.
Yeah, then they're
and they're coming running to help you.
Yeah.
At least you know that person likes you.
True. So, and then there's also the locate, which is a lot of times locator beacons.
A personal device.
Yeah, a personal locator beacon. And those you can have on you or you can clip to a life vest.
Right.
But those essentially send out a signal so that you can be found.
And those are many times like a strobe light or something that emits a signal.
Yes.
So
it's important to have those, know where those are, and have them available so that if something, happens where you need to utilize them, it's easy for you to get a hold of, and you're going to be fine because you took all the steps that you needed to in advance, right?
Yes.
You're not scrambling trying to figure out, okay, well, what do I do? It's just, I'm grabbing this and I'm good.
Right. And that's why one of the things that I would show people, no matter what, it's your first or second time on the boat, is this is where the PFDs are. These are where the locators are. This is how you use one. This is how you activate one. Now we're good to go. Let's get underway.
This is something that, a lot of people, you want to kind of review these items regularly, at least once a year. Make sure that, for example, nothing is fraying. Make sure everything is still effective.
Good working order. So a lot of these inflatables, right? They have air canisters to help inflate them. You want to make sure that those are in working order, that they haven't sprung a leak or anything along those lines. That everything is in tip-top shape, that everything's certified, that you're in compliance. Because the last thing you want to happen is to have a need for one of these products and you didn't pay attention and now it doesn't work, and matters are going to get real bad real fast.
Exactly.
Please pay attention to your safety equipment. Everybody that gets on board, educate them on being safe. It doesn't take but a couple of minutes to teach them where your PFDs are, where your locating devices are, and how to use them. You never know. It could save your life, it could save somebody else's life, and it only cost you a couple of minutes.
I agree with that completely. So make sure to check out our October edition online if it hasn't already arrived at your house.
I'll do the sign off. I just want to show everybody I love this cover. I'm James Anderson.
I'm Ian Sneed.
Make sure to come back and check us out next week. Are you sure you're all right?
Yeah. Oh, let's do silence. Ready? 10 seconds. Start in 2, 1. All right. Let's do that again.
I'll try my best. I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. I swear.